Okay, everybody, welcome to another amateur hour in video recording. This is Ray Fowler. I'm the developer for Remnants of the Precursors, and I'm just going to spend a few minutes tonight talking about the user experience improvements in the game. I'm not going to talk about new features or anything like that, but I just want to give people who are familiar with the original Master of Orion and how the old user interface worked, how it's going to be the same but better in Remnants. So I've turned the sound off on the game. I'm not even recording it. I don't think I need it for this. So the first thing is like when you see menus here, you're going to be able to access the menu entries just by hitting the first letter. So if I hit L for load game, well, watch for that theory. Okay, so we got a list here. So there's lots of ways to navigate a list in Remnants. You can mouse wheel through it, which I'm doing right now, which is very convenient. You can hit the up and down arrow. So if you don't have a mouse wheel on your mouse, or if you're just mouseless and you want to use the keyboard, right? Or you can actually, if you've got a touch screen, and I do, you can take your finger and you can drag the list up and down like I'm doing right now, right? So I try to get a lot of finger dragging in the game because, to me, touchscreens are the future. So you're going to see a lot of ability to support that, and you're not going to see hardly any at all tooltips. So I'm going to click that with my finger and hit OK with my finger. Not that that's a big deal. So this is a saved game that somebody sent me during the last alpha to test a bug. I think it was an out-of-memory bug. But I picked this because he's played it for a long time. He's 188 turns into the game. So there'll be like enough data for me to show you some of the things. So the first thing I want to start off is I want to show you the galaxy map. So which we're at. In the original game, all you could do to move the galaxy map around was you could click on a spot on the galaxy map, and it would recenter the map at that spot. You couldn't zoom in or out or anything like that. So with this game, you can. I'm using the mouse now, and I'm clicking and I'm dragging part of the map around. So you can drag the map around just like you would expect, and you can mouse wheel out and back in. Very obvious stuff, right? There's also a little zoom out button here, right, if you want to do it that way. Another thing you can do is you can zoom out with the minus key, which I'm hitting now, and you can zoom in with the plus key. You can also use the left, right, up and down arrows to pan the map around. Okay? And finally, of course, you can drag it with your finger just as if you were with a mouse, but you can also pinch zoom in or out. I'm doing that right now with my finger. I'm using a pinch gesture like you would on a phone. Okay, so that's kind of some of the improvements to the mouse. It's a lot easier to get around on the map now. Let's see. I've got something here about secondary screens. Oh, okay. So this is the main screen of Remnants and of Master of Orion 1. You've got a lot of secondary screens where you can do things like design your ships, look at your races, look at your planets, look at your technologies, etc. And those are all, I'm going to use the mouse here, along the bottom here as I hover over them. So you can get to all these screens by hitting the first letter. So like if I want to go to the ship design screen, I just hit D. And anytime you're on these screens, if you hit escape, you go back to the main screen. So if I want to go to the map, I go here, M, R takes me to races, etc., etc. T takes me to tech. Okay, so that's a real simple thing, but it's really convenient because it makes it easy to move around the screen if your hands are on the keyboard and you don't want to grab your mouse. Another thing too is improvements about using the sliders. As a lot of Master of Orion veterans know, sliders are one of the really cool things about the game, and they can be a little click heavy. You know, you have to click them a lot sometimes to get them just where you want. So I'm going to go through some of the improvements here. So first of all, I'm going to look at the colony sliders here, right here on the right. And as you notice, when you hover over a slider, there's a yellow block around it. When you see that, that's a really strong indication that you can mouse wheel. So I can mouse wheel this guy to whatever I want, right? Which is very convenient. And of course, anyone remembers with sliders, if you click on the label, that locks it. So mouse wheeling does nothing. Okay. And another thing you can do is, if you're using a touch screen, you can just touch the slider where you want. I'm using my finger now to do this, and set it to what you want. And of course, you can lock it or unlock it, just like you would with a mouse. It works just like clicking with a mouse. So let's see. Oh, another thing too you can do with the sliders. So notice that there's 5 sliders. I wanted to make the ability to use the keyboard to adjust the sliders. I wanted that to be possible, which is kind of confusing, right? Because, how do you assign keys to all these different sliders? So what I decided to do is just to make the number keys 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 work for the sliders. So if you just hit the number key by itself, like 1 corresponds to the ship guy here, I'm hovering over it now. But if I move my mouse over here and I hit the 1 key, it's like I'm clicking this button right here on the right by hitting the 1 key. If I hit the 2 key, it's the second slider. The 4 key would do the eco, but that one's locked, so that's not going to work. And so to go down, if you want to decrement it, you just hit Shift. So if I hit the Shift one, it'll make the ship spinning go down. Does that make sense? And if you want to lock or unlock a slider, you hit the Control. So if I want to lock my technology research, if I hit Control 5, that's locked. If I want to unlock it, I hit Control 5 again. So you can toggle the locks by using the control and then the number for the slider. Hitting the number increments the slider. Using Shift and the number decrements the slider. So I'm going to hit T and go to the text screen. And you can see here we've got 6 sliders right here. 1 for each of the tech categories. So if I hit 1, see this guy goes up. If I hit Shift 1, he goes down. If I hit 3, if I hit Control 6, that locks the 6th one. Control 5 locks the 5th one. Control 5 again unlocks it. So it's the same mechanism for all the sliders. So I'm going to hit Escape for exit here. And if I go to R for races, and I'm going to click here. So you've got like a security slider here. I don't think the 1 works on these, but the mouse wheel does. Maybe I should make that work. I'm going to make a note for that. Security slider, 1 key. You guys are watching QA in action right now. Okay, so you can do that, and I can still do the touch click on this guy. That's my finger touching that. Okay, so also these lists here for the tech list are scrollable with the mouse wheel. And there's also these little things here. Make sense? Okay, let's see. What else did I have? Let's see. Sliders. Oh, the tab frames. This is a perfect example. So see along the top here where it says Embassy, Intelligence, Military Map, how it's blue, and when it's highlighted, it's red. So I'm kind of calling that a tab frame, for lack of a better word. So if you just hit the tab key, you'll tab across the different options here, right? So, here's like this list here. I'm mouse wheeling the ship list right there. So, I think there's another, if I go to the text screen, there's another tab frame here. See right here where it says computers, the different types. So I can hit tab and just go through all of these. So it looks like there's a lot of stuff here. But there's going to be a lot of common user interface elements, and I'm trying to make sure that there's like just intuitive ways to manipulate them without having to click on everything. For example, clicking sliders is a click fest. If you were doing this all the time, you'd get tired of clicking. But if you can just mouse wheel, it's just so much easier. Let's see. Is there anything else I want to go? This is a short video. I want to thank, I'm guessing, whoever Heimbuch is. He's the guy who sent me this save file. It's got a lot of nice data in it. You can see, oh, look, this is interesting too. Okay, that's all I wanted to go over. So I hope that helps give you a good idea of how I've tried to improve the user experience while retaining the original user interfaces from Master of Orion. Thanks a lot. That was 10 minutes?